We are going to begin, as I mentioned, Big 12 on my mind because they wrapped up their media days and their coaches voted on the Big 12 order of finish. And BYU is picked to win the conference. I thought it could be Texas Tech. They do have a quarterback issue. One was a gambling addict. The other one will start the year injured. If you've actually looked at the Texas Tech schedule, if I was their quarterback, Louie Bellina, now starting at quarterback for Texas Tech, number 3, Louie Bellina, I could win 10 games. Their schedule is quite nice. Let me just shoot it at you. And if you want, you can grab a Sharpie and write on your hand. Tell me who they'd lose to with just an average quarterback. Don't think college football playoff that derailed Texas Tech's entire year because they rolled into the CFP, got exposed in the CFP a year ago because of quarterback play. But even with not their first string, because he's in rehab right now, addiction, gambling. No, he's not. Not the other starter who was the backup, who will be the starter again because he's injured. But just any quarterback, their defense should hold all 12 of these teams to probably single-digit points. But here's their schedule. Abilene Christian, Oregon State, Houston Cougars, who I like Houston. I think the Cougs could maybe win 10 games. But they're definitely a second-tier team. Like, unless you help them, I don't see how they beat anyone on the next tier. But they'll probably beat everyone on their tier. Sam Houston State, Colorado, Arizona State, who I think is Houston. Arizona State could probably win 9 games. They're not going to beat anyone a tier above them unless that team above them has a 3-turnover game, doesn't show up, has their off week, but yet there's a game scheduled. Cincinnati, Arizona's 8-4. You control your fate against them. If you show they can beat you, if you show you beat them. West Virginia, Baylor, which Howell Rand has a job going into year 7, TCU, and Oklahoma State. Texas Tech is picked second by the Big 12 coaches. But I don't know. There's been all kinds of record projections. And how Texas Tech goes worse than 11-1, even 8-1. 8-1 is the league record, by the way. I don't have a clue. Tell me who they should lose to. The answer is no one. And we can maybe make some arguments for could lose to. But even the could arguments are kind of weak on that schedule because they could lose to, See, that's the problem. They should not lose to anyone. They could lose to maybe 2. I think 10-2 would be the worst case, and that actually would be a disaster on their schedule because I think Texas Tech's story is as much their schedule as Sorsby or anything else we want to talk about. But that schedule is high comedy. It is awful. I wonder when the smoke clears and we talk about strength of schedule, which for the SEC, what did they preach all last year? That the committee has to take into account, has to value. And it's the strength of schedule. Texas Tech schedule when the smoke clears. How will this be a top 50 strength of schedule even? Because Abilene Christian losing record, Oregon State losing record, Sam Houston State, their record won't be relevant. They won't be in the top 100. Colorado State losing record, Arizona State's at 8-4, 9-3. Cincinnati losing record, Arizona's at 8-4. West Virginia's a wild card. Baylor losing record. TCU this year, we don't know. And Oklahoma State surprised me, by the way. Because do you know, like CBS Sports did every single they did every D1 team. There's no D1. FCS. Okay, fine. Be that way. And they had Oklahoma State as the one team that beat them in their 11-1 record for Tech. Wild to pick Oklahoma State. And then I went to go look at their Oklahoma State version, and they picked them 9-3. Other day, we're talking about the Cowboys with 80-something new faces, yet 9-3, because they're in the Big 12, and you can do that. So the one team even that Tech might lose to is such a pull. It's so insane, but that's their schedule. It has built-in wins to them. Now, BYU, projected, picked, BYU, Big 12, according to their coaches, to win the conference at 11-1. Their one loss, I don't want to call it a certainty, but I'd know I'd go to Vegas and load up on it. They got Notre Dame in the non-con. They can beat Notre Dame. They're not going to beat Notre Dame. Yes, even a blind squirrel will find an acorn with no nuts. So yes, they could beat Notre Dame. I'm taking the Irish. Now the rest of their schedule. Utah Tech, the 8-4 Zona, the maybe 3-win Colorado. Not going to be good TCU. Iowa State's picked for 4 wins now that, their legendary coach has moved on. Scrappy UCF. 8-4 Arizona State. Utah, the Holy War. We'll talk about Utah in a sec. Utah fascinates me, by the way. They're picked 10-2. They should be in contention for the Big 12 title, right? Pick 10-2. Every year they pick 10-2. Every year they come up short. Every year what was the quarterback's name that's been there for 10 straight years and hasn't played a full season yet, and he's finally gone. One thing for Utah about this year, almost consider it the fresh start year, because sure enough, CBS Sports had them at 10-2 again. I think as Brad Crawford went through every team and played out their whole season and came up with their final regular season record. Well, Utah is picked 10-2 yet again. But this is the first time they're free of Will Willingham. They're free of that quarterback who this is the year for the 10th straight year. So either, you jump. Cam Rising. Thank you. Cam Rising. Caleb, how do you say your last name? No, there's no way. That's like Sarah Lee. All right. Rapidly like Sarah Lee. That's how I'm going to say it from now on. Rapidly like Sarah Lee. So, Caleb, Cam Rising, good pull. 10 straight years. Never played a full season. So, this is a fresh start for Utah. Don't have a quarterback that's only going to play 2.5 games. Don't have a coach that, the Willingham to Michigan, it's a fresh start for him, and he might fulfill his legacy and promise, but it's a fresh start for Utah to not have a coach that was too stubborn to adapt to. It's really bizarre how it's a fresh start both ways. And if Willingham goes to Michigan, wins 10 games, beat Ohio State, they're going to go, see, Utah was the problem. But what if Utah wins 10 games without him too? Were they both the problem both ways? Because it's very real that could be the problem. They both needed a break. This could have been one of those moments where both sides win. Can they do the Spider-Man meme then, where they're both pointing at each other? Oh, I was talking about BYU somewhere in here. 11-1, but 9-0 in Big 12 play. Because hold on. Notre Dame, they're going to lose. Utah, Holy War, a Utah team picked for 10 themselves. That's a fight. But here's the rest of their schedule. Baylor, 4-win, 5-win team. Kansas, 3-win team. Cincinnati, 5-win team. So you see how there's a lot of wins built in for BYU, but that 11's not a lock. They could be 10, but they're going to be good. This is the Louie Bellina Show, just getting started on a Thursday. Hour 1 here, and Big 12 media days are done. We're talking some Big 12 football. It is football, y'all. And I've said before, Big 12, love. I do. It's fun. I finally figured out the best summary statement. With the Pac-12 dead and gone, even though I know they've risen from the dead this year, I feel like the Big 12 is the new Pac-12 after dark. That's the level of games you get. I feel like the Big 12 should have the 9 o'clock slot on ESPN, and we should just call it the Big 12 after dark. That's the level of entertainment their games are. And remember how even with those Pac-12 after dark games, we didn't have to take the Pac-12 of those games seriously? Neither with the Big 12. But man, they're fun. Real quick look thoughts. Houston's picked to go 10-2 again with their losses at Texas Tech and at Utah. I don't think they can beat Tech. I think they can beat Utah, but if Utah's real, maybe not. But Utah, again, this will be the 10th straight year they pick for 10, and then they end up at 8-9 because they're still never not that good. And the dubs for the Cougs, for Connor Wigman, will Connor Wigman be the starting quarterback in Week 10 is one of the great questions for the Cougars. But the wins, Oregon State, Southern, Georgia Southern, UCF, Kansas State, Oklahoma State. Oklahoma State won. Cincinnati, Colorado, Virginia, Baylor. Looking at their schedule that way, I do feel like 9-3 would probably be the worst case scenario. I do, for the Cougs, Connor Wigman. And Oklahoma is the great mystery team where my most basic thought, year one, 80-plus new. They did get some high-end talent because they were loyal to their coach. It can all go perfectly right in a league that you don't have to be challenged in. And if it all goes perfectly right, they can win 9. And this is a year after an 11-loss year. And it'll be the greatest turnaround story in college football. It will be the greatest turnaround story, without a doubt. But if it doesn't, they might win 5 games again. Because with that turnover, and if it doesn't click and it doesn't gel, Nightmareville. It can just all be horrific for Oklahoma State. I don't see a mid. I don't see them going 6-6 and everyone, well, let's plus 5 wins. Nice first year. He could go 9. It could be 5 again. Woof. Kansas State. That's our boy, Colin Klein. Wish him nothing but the best. Year one. Can he get Avery Johnson going? Can he get Avery Johnson going? I think the answer is yes for the Big 12. I mean, how much does he have to get going, right? And here's the schedule, right? So 7-5 is what they said. Nichols, Washington State, Tulane, Kansas, Colorado, Iowa State, Zona. That's the 7 dubs. Here's the 5 losses, which, why do they have to lose at Cincinnati? Cincinnati's like a 5-win team. Houston, Arizona State's 8. The 8-4 teams, you can beat them if you pop up, right? At Arizona State, Oklahoma State at TCU. So 7-5, and in the 5 losses, depending on the quality of you and the quality of them, they can sneak a couple of dubs. But in the 7 wins, I don't see games they should lose in there. Maybe Zona. So they have a very flexible 7-5 that could be 6-6 and could be 8-4. Little variance in there for Colin Klein in year one. Now we get down to warming my cockles. Baylor 4-8, 2-7 in league play. And I do hate watch and I do hate cheer. I've never tried to hide that. And 4-win Baylor, like 4 wins would be a great year from them. That warms my cockles. That is a let's have a round of beer on me kind of moment. When we return, some text messages. When we return, more college football, but including A&M. We're just getting started. It is the Louie Bellina Show, presented by CC Electric, Thursday on The Zone.
Listen to the Houston Astros on The Zone, thanks to Kelly Berdozer.
Total Eclipse of the Heart. It's probably been about 50 movies, 100, TV shows, streaming or otherwise, 30 to 70 commercials. Just legendary. There's one more that later on we'll hit. And I'm sure her fans know more than 2 songs, but I guarantee you there's 2 songs like 99% of the population has heard in some form, whether the video, the song itself, or used in media of some form. Bonnie Tyler passed away. God, total eclipse of the heart, man. When it comes on, stuff's going down. That's all. It's drama time, not a dry eye in the house. It is the Louie Bellina Show inside the Charles Schwab studio. Low cost, full service, best of all local. You can visit Mark Sim right here in College Station. That's how it's best of all local. Mark Sim right here in College Station. Find them online at schwab.com/College Station. Charles Schwab and Company Incorporated, member SIPC. I do have a text message that says, would you still love Big 12 football if Baylor was a powerhouse? I think not. Jimmy. Yeah. That's when I would have to rally the rest of the league against Baylor. That's when I would have to lead the forces of light against the forces of dark. That's when I would have to rise up. Because think about it this way, too. The twin towers of evil being Texas Tech and Baylor. And that's when I'd have to talk to the Cougs. I'd have to talk to the Arizona schools. I would lead the forces of light in the Big 12. Just because evil would reign and there'd be darkness over the empire and the kingdom? Jimmy, it doesn't work like that, bro. Yeah, I think so. You can think not. I think so. 979-693-1150. 979-693-1150. I got a question. You know, the Big 12 is my side fun. Like I said, they're now my Pac-12 after dark, even if it's not dark, because they're just a party league. Their games are stupid. They're insane, but it's just fun viewing. It's like harmless fun. It's not even like real football. Do you have that? Like for you as a college football fan, all A&M all the time. I don't even have time for other SEC. I got time for A&M and the SEC, but after that, Lou, I need to sleep. Or do you have, I love watching Sun Belt. I root for these other teams. Like, how does your fandom work? In the fall, I am all consumed. In the fall, I have friends who know, and this isn't healthy maybe or good, but they leave me alone for 3 months because like, hey, Lou, and I don't return text messages, and it's never personal. I have had some friends pull away because they didn't quite understand the concept. That's not good. That's not a brag. And other friends are just like, he'll come visit in December. We'll go eat dinners. Because there's college football on about 4 or 5 nights a week and other such things, right? But that's how I am. I mean, I've said before the way I watch college football, I'll turn the game on until I'm bored. That's why Tuesday we get a little Maction, Wednesday Maction. I'm good until I'm not. If it's I don't care what league it is. If the game stinks, don't care. If the game is great, I don't care what I'm watching. And the Big 12 rarely disappoints. I could sit there and watch Cincinnati pound Baylor by 21 points when Baylor was a 14-point favorite. I could sit there all day long. And to be fair, you can watch Big 12 entertainment or some, this past year I noticed and felt that some of the slap fests in the SEC are not high entertainment. In the SEC, when a program goes bad, the talent disparity, how bad they are, it can be hard to watch. And when I'm on about my 8th college football game of the day, I need entertainment. I want to sit on my couch and just smile, not even think. Big Ten football, their top end right now, they're the Natties. They run college football. Their top end. Have you ever tried watching the mid on down? Big Ten football is awful from the mid down. I can't watch. I can watch current Indiana, Ohio State. I can watch Michigan versus, I can't say Oregon because it's Pac-12, even though it's not. Still hurts me to these days. So Big 12 is again, my side. But I will admit last year, the bottom end SEC, there was some skank in there. There was some hard to watch, didn't want to watch. What am I watching? There's no doubt about that. Do you have side? Or between A&M and then SEC, that's all you need. That's all you got time for. I respect that. That's probably healthier, to be fair. 979-693-1150. 979-693-1150. I'm sorry if I've been feeling it too much this week with college football and media days returning and the Big 12 having theirs. Oh, speaking of the Big 12, I got to share this with you. That Monster Energy deal they signed, where Monster Energy is going to have a patch on every team's jersey. Then they're going to have the Monster logo on courts and fields. It's Monster Energy branding, every team, every uniform, everything, right? It's already been ridiculed horrifically because they're only getting like 1.25 mil per team. Guess what? If front office sports is correct, no, it's not even 1.25 mil. No, because what everybody kind of was doing was taking the total of the contract and dividing by the teams, not so fast, as a wise man once said. It doesn't work that way. The Big 12 office has to get their cut. The actual value per team is $800K, significantly less than the first number, because all of the money doesn't even go to the teams. Holy cow. I know somewhere on the internet, and it'll probably come up over the weekend, we have to get the worst endorsement deals of all time. And there will be no universe that this will not be on the top 5 list. Because maybe it is one. I need to see the rest. But it's going to be one of the top 5 endorsement deals, branding, there we go, branding deals of all time. Because originally it was 125 per school. But no, front office sports. Louie Bellina does no math. But 125. No. And you realize if it's down to $800K, it lost 25% of its value per school in 2 days. Hey man, how much is that after taxes and the rest of it? This is a mutt fest of a deal. I love the Big 12 though. You know part of why I have so much admiration for the Big 12? Because they lost Texas and OU and they still survived. They lost A&M and Nebraska, and they still survived. If you can survive the cesspool left behind by Texas, you have some admiration from me. That's not a joke. That's not Lou with high sarcasm or comedy. Texas took over the league. Texas ran the league. Texas had that stupid SEC network. And the Big 12 still survived that. And when the musical chairs have ended, I think the last 3 leagues standing, SEC, Big 10, and the Big 12 will be the last 3 standing at the end of this storyline. And you got to give extra credit for that. When we return up next, our listen in Arizona State. And why Arizona State? Aggies playing week 2. This is scouting report time. It's the Louie Bellina Show, presented by CC Electric. Free estimates, military and veteran discounts. They do that at CC Electric. It's the Louie Bellina Show on the Zone.
Give it to me. Give it to me.
The Louie Bellina Show. It's awesome. He's all gas and no brakes. Listen in weekdays, 11 to 2 on the Zone.
Time right now, a listen-in. Arizona State head coach Kenny Dillingham from Big 12 Media Days. Aggies, Sun Devils. Game 2, Kyle Field, 11 a.m. Call this a scouting report if you wish.
Hey, Kenny. Chris Cartman, Sun Devil Source. My question is about your coaching continuity. You've had a tremendous amount of coaches stay within your program. That's something that's caused prior ASU staff's challenges, including a staff that you were on under Todd Graham. So what does that enable you personally and the team?
Yeah, I think it makes you more efficient. I think anytime that you can have consistency on your staff, a lot of the things that you would spend time on, you don't have to spend time on, which allows you to give more time off to your staff, which makes them want to stay more. And then the more time off you give them, the more they want to stay, but then the more continuity you have. So I think it's a what came first, the chicken or the egg scenario in terms of that really just provides a lot of time-saving scenarios. And we can all get on the same page. We all know how we think. We know how we work together. And I think it's a huge advantage for us. It allows us to see our families, to get away from the game, and also get the same amount of work done, if not more, than other places with extreme turnover.
Again, if you have a question, please raise your hand and keep it raised until we can get someone to you. We'll go to the center left, third row.
Yeah, Kenny, Barry Trammell with the Tulsa World. You guys got so close to winning in the 24 playoff. Tech had a good seed last year. How important is it for somebody to break through and start winning once you get in the playoff? Important for the league.
Yeah, winning is always important. We want to win as many games as we can in the regular season, as many games as we can in the postseason. I mean, obviously, winning, it's the nature of the sport. We got to win.
Okay, the center right, fourth row.
How you doing, Kenny? Hod Rabino, Devil's Digest. Chemistry and cohesion, some will say, are the biggest cliches in sports, but do you feel that the culture that you established at Arizona State has really helped those elements become from cliches to actually building the program, especially with so many new here?
100%. I think the Leadership Council here has done a great job, along with a lot of other guys who got votes, establishing a culture, establishing a work ethic, establishing those things that do breed success. I mean, when you talk about culture, you can put it on a wall or you can live it. I think a lot of the guys, how we've recruited guys, the guys that we've brought in, they're very like-minded. And when you recruit like-minded people, they get along. Those people get along. They want to be around each other, create an environment to have them work. And I think these guys on this council, these guys on this team, I think they love the process, they love the work, and they believe in what we're doing. And I think they've really brought in the rest of the team. And like I said, there's a bunch of leaders on this team that aren't here who have done the same thing. So I do believe in those that culture and that has been established.
Okay, again, if you have a question, please raise your hand. State your name and affiliation. We'll go to the back.
Who are you looking forward to losing to in the new NCAA game?
I think the last time I played a player on our team nicknamed Sip, I think I beat him by like 40 pregame on a Friday night. We ended up to win that game later, but so it would not be Sip. It would have to be somebody else on our team. So I don't know who that would be.
Okay, we go to the left side. Left center, fourth row.
Hey, Coach. Jordan Edmondson, Sickos Committee. So my question for you is, when someone watches Arizona State football this fall, what's one characteristic you hope they immediately associate with the team?
Tough. Watch us. We're physical. We respond to adversity, physically and mentally tough. Bad things happen. We respond. We don't get too high. We don't get too low. And we're a physical football team. So tough. That's the number one thing. I mean, other than the little thing, owning the ball and all that stuff that everybody has to do to win, but tough. When you turn on our tape, I want our football team to be a team that you can feel the physicality and you can see us respond.
Okay, we'll go to left center.
Coach Andrew Chirko, Knights 24/7. ASU has produced a multitude of draft picks since you've taken them over. What are some of those names that we can look for this fall that can generate some noise?
Yeah, I think there's a lot of names. I mean, for me to go through and try, we'll be here for a while. But I think there's a lot of names of guys that have an opportunity to get drafted this year. And in future years within the program, I think that's something that we've established is that we can put guys in the NFL, that we can develop a team and a culture and an environment to maximize players. And I think this last season, having those 4 guys drafted and guys that weren't really ranked super high in their high school recruiting rankings, were kind of under the radar and then have the success they had and get drafted where they were. I think that's only the beginning for our program to prove that we can help you get to where you want to go. And then the guys that don't make the NFL, how can we help you in life, which is the more challenging prospect.
Left center, sixth row.
Michelle Gardner, Arizona Republic. Can you talk about the schedule your team is playing, and in particular the London game, and how that is going to change everything you do on a weekly?
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely a challenge. I mean, I told our team the biggest challenge is us this year in managing the schedule, going on the road at A&M and then going straight from A&M straight to London week 3. Like, that's a challenge of its own. And I wanted to do the London game because at the end of the day, college football is still about these players. It's still about 18 to 22-year-olds and their experience, in college and the memories they make, hopefully good memories. But it's about those memories, and sending 105 college kids to London to experience something they may never experience again is a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. And even though it makes our schedule more challenging, everything's challenging in its own light, and we're going to have we created a challenge for ourselves, but if we go take care of business, play the game we want to play, prepare how we want to prepare, it could also bring us together, and we could turn it into a positive. That does create challenges in the schedule. It puts our bye week 3, and then us having 9 straight games is another challenge of keeping our bodies healthy. So this is a great challenge for our team to be able to play a difficult schedule, not just versus teams, but logistically, and find a way to navigate through it. And that's the maturity that I think this team has.
Center right, 4th row.
Dan Tortora, Wake Up Call, DTD.com. Coach, looking at the elite wide receivers that you brought in via the transfer portal, just what you can say about that room, how it's growing, and what we can expect this season from them.
Yeah, I expect that room to be dynamic. I expect that room to, force people to lean safeties in the run game, in the pass game, to change coverage. That's what I expect. I expect some of those guys to force a team to play them with more than one person. And in a game that's turning into a league filled with, 4-match, which fits almost like 2-man, and 3-match, in a game that's turning into a lot of match coverage, you have to have guys who can truly win on the perimeter and give yourself throws. And if you can do that, you can change, the math equation. So we're looking for those guys to change the math in the box, so guys like Kyson can run the rock.
Far left side, 4th row.
Candace Sports. Hi, Coach. How are you doing?
Doing great. How are you?
Great. After reaching the college football playoffs in 2024, the team took a bit of a step back last season. How has the heavy use of the transfer portal, how is that going to benefit you this season as a team, you hope?
Yeah, I think we, after the 2014 season was a great run for our guys. No expectations, just work, one day at a time, just the work. I think we brought in guys in the portal that have a similar mindset to what we want our team to be, and that's process-driven, not results-driven. And I think if you can stay true to that mindset of process-driven and focus on what you can control every single day, and you can do it in an environment where you like to be in and you enjoy being there, I think it only multiplies the process-driven culture. And I think we brought those guys in, and we're expecting them to make a big impact.
Time for a couple more questions. We'll go center right, 3rd row.
Coach, James Technic into White Right Sun. What was it about Cutter Boley coming in from Kentucky that made you go and want to bring him into Arizona State? Because I think he was in the transfer portal for only like 2 days before you guys signed him.
So I recruited him to Oregon when I was there. And I just remember he was a really good athlete. People don't give him enough credit for his athleticism. He's a very good athlete, was a good basketball player. And then he had all the arm strength and all the ability of what he could do. And then when he went in the portal, watching his tape really fast, but I remembered who he was, and I remembered a lot about him from his visit out there to Oregon. So it was somebody that I knew I wanted to target from the beginning.
All right, final question, far left side in the back.
Hey, Kenny, Jake Garcia with 12 News in Phoenix. You've been very vocal about the importance of fundraising just to keep up with the college football arms race. Are you content with what's already been done? And do you feel like there's further room to grow in that area to allow ASU to keep up?
You just asked a coach if he's content. right? Obviously, the answer is no, right? We'll never be content, right? You're always striving to be better. You're always striving to push better, push for more, push for more. And the day that I stop trying to push for more, right, is the day that I'm complacent and content, and that's not what you want, right? You should always want more. You should always push for more. And I think that's just the nature of the world we're in today, but it's the nature of how sports have been forever, is you always want more, you push for more. I'll say the athletic department, the president, they've definitely gotten way more involved in terms of what they want this program to be. From my 4 years here, there's been unbelievable growth in who we are as an athletic department, as a university, their support for football, and we're building a new indoor facility that's going to be state-of-the-art, one of the best indoor facilities in the country, and we're continuing to try to get better and better and better. But I'll never be satisfied. I'll always want more. I'll always push to want more, and I think anybody who wants to be the very best is going to want the same.
Coach, thank you for your time today. Good luck.
That wraps up our listen in. Arizona State, their head coach, Kyle Dillingham. Again, Aggies, Sun Devils. Did I say Kyle? Kenny Dillingham, Arizona State head football coach from Big 12 Media Days, which wrapped up yesterday. They were Tuesday, Wednesday. We might have another one before 2 o'clock, kind of winging it on that one, but I knew that was the one. Aggie Sun Devils, again, week 2, game 2, 11 a.m., Kyle Field. And let's take a timeout, come back. I got some thoughts. I thought it was a fascinating listen-in because, one, what he had to say, two, there are some stupid questions in there, and I thought he handled them well. Asking about, doesn't the Big 12 need to win games when they get in the CFP? Well, no bleep. And the way he just said, yeah, winning's good. I mean, he just so dismissed that question. I thought he was great, and I don't know if everybody picked up on all the different ways he was great in that, because there were some dumb questions. Especially, doesn't the Big 12 need to win games when they get in the college football playoff? Yeah. Oh, boy. And then there was a couple there that it was a struggle bus just for the question to be asked. Like, I could not even understand what they were asking. That was an awesome listen-in. Probably not for all the reasons you think. This is the Louie Bellina Show, presented by CC Electric. This is the Louie Bellina Show. I sit inside the Charles Schwab studio Thursday on The Zone, and I'm highly amused.
This is your home for Aggie football. Home, road, or bowl. The Zone 1150 AM and 93.7 FM.